My notes up here. So thank you everyone, as Jack mentioned, for joining us here today. We are so excited to be giving you this content. This is a conversation that we've had for the last 2 years about trying to partner with a financial institution, and we're very grateful for the credit union for being our partner in this. So the first thing that we're going to discuss today is the Freedmen's Savings and Trust. After the Civil War, freed slaves, many of whom had never handled money, needed banking services. To address these needs, the U.S. government and the Bureau of Refugees freed men and abandoned lands and to provide the aid. Meanwhile, a group of missionaries, abolitionists, and businessmen worked to create a savings bank. Chartered by an act of the U.S. Congress and signed by President Abraham Lincoln himself, the Freedmen's Savings and Trust Company came into being in 1865. Within a few years, the bank had 19 branches and over 23,000 depositors, including many churches and institutions. At its height, there were 37 branches, mostly in the South, and more than 100,000 accounts. Unfortunately, the bank's conservative investments weren't sufficient to support the infrastructure. Despite demand, the bank struggled, and after several years in existence, it was reorganized and new trustees began to make riskier investments. Following the panic of 1873, many of those investments became worthless, and at least 100 banks failed in the panic. Facing a critical situation, Freedmen's president was replaced by prominent African American Frederick Douglass, who quickly learned of the insurmountable challenges that the bank faced. By 1874, Freedmen's Bank was forced to close at a time before federal deposit insurance was available, and many lost their savings. Years of distrust between the African American community and financial institutions would come to follow. Despite the outcome of this endeavor, those early depositors did leave descendants something quite valuable. They left detailed records. Now indexed and available online, they provide a wealth of genealogical information about people who we may otherwise not have known. In the 1930s, African Americans began to seek property in urban areas. Government-sponsored organizations such as the Homeowners Loan Corporation and the Federal Home Loan Bank Board drew up maps labeling predominantly black neighborhoods as hazardous. They lined these areas in red, which is where the term redlining comes from, and the maps were used by banks to deny lending and investment services while also limiting healthcare, educational opportunity, and food services to many African Americans. The practice went on for decades until the Fair Housing Act of 1968 sought to end it. But those attempts to curtail the process still didn't put a stop to the federal redlining, nor did it begin to address the damage decades of discrimination and segregation had done to African Americans. So now we'll talk about the Greenwood District, also known as Black Wall Street. The Cultural District of Greenwood in Tulsa, Oklahoma, was established in the early 1900s after O.W. Gurley, an established, wealthy landowner, purchased 40 acres of land. His hopes was to establish a community built on Black entrepreneurship. There was still a large demand for equality, and the Jim Crow laws kept many Blacks from feeling safe spending their money in white-owned establishments. The community consisted of doctors, lawyers, realtors, and offered anything from grocery stores, libraries. They even built their own school system and hospital, as well as provided transportation services. The population included both white and blue-collar citizens, and the money earned inside of the community or outside was circulated back into that community. With all of the luxuries and necessities available in the community, there wasn't much else for them to need to go. Money brought into Greenwood would actually exchange hands and go throughout the community 19 times before it was sent anywhere else. On May 31st of 1921, Greenwood would see its demise in the Tulsa Race Massacre that destroyed the thriving neighborhood and economy in 48 hours. This would all come after a falsely reported assault of a white woman by a black man, and it is estimated that around 300 people lost their lives during this event. The American Red Cross has estimated that around 1,250 homes and buildings were burned down that day. And if you took the how much that was in today's term, it's been estimated that it's over $1 billion. Now we'll look at the cycle of the black dollar in the community. Before the pandemic, buying power was anticipated to grow $2 trillion in the black community by the end of 2020. And since 1990, there's been a 275% increase in black buying power. While a large component of this is forced into population growth, it's at a faster rate than the overall U.S. population average. In the community of Greenwood, we just learned that money exchanged within the community 19 times. When you look into terms of how money is distributed today, if you look at the white community, it's unlimited, and the money continues to go populate throughout that community. In the Asian community, we're looking at 28 days. The Jewish community is looking at 20 days. The Hispanic community, you have 7 days that the dollar is circulating around. And currently in the black community, it's estimated that it lasts 6 hours before it's back out of the community. A lot of what we saw in Greenwood was largely in part because of the Jim Crow laws and the segregation that continued in the South. Black dollar discrimination is something that still occurs today. In 2018, recording artist SZA had security called on her while shopping in a Sephora cosmetics store. With all of the buying power in the black community, it's invested in institutions that don't necessarily value a black customer. Sephora's response to the incident was closing their stores and hosting diversity and bias sessions with their team members to describe what had just happened. There are many resources in which money can be placed into the black community and supporting black businesses to ensure the funds are circulated within the community. Now we will go over some things about black wealth, about the racial wealth gap. One of the longest lasting and most devastating effects of generations of systemic discrimination against blacks in the banking sector is the ongoing wealth gap between black and white households. In 2019, the median wealth of black households in the United States was $24,100 compared with $189,100 for that of white households. Therefore, the typical black household had 12% of the wealth of the typical white household, and they owned $165,000 less in wealth. This has been exacerbated by factors as recently as 2007, when the U.S. subprime mortgage meltdown contributed to a global financial crisis nearly crippling our economy. The housing boom of the mid-2000s, combined with low interest rates at the time, promoted many predatory lenders to offer loans to individuals with poor credit, many of whom were African American and from African American neighborhoods. When the real estate bubble burst, many borrowers were unable to make their payments on their mortgage. While the ongoing damage from discriminatory banking practices still exists, there thankfully have been a number of modern federal safeguards put in place to avoid problematic practices such as redlining. American Airlines Federal Credit Union, like most financial institutions, is subject to federal guidelines for lending, which prohibits lenders from considering race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, or disability when applying for residential mortgage loans. That's one of the reasons you'll see an equal housing lender logo on anything related to mortgages or home lending. These same guidelines also apply to all of the credit unions' lending products and services. And while the credit union remains financially independent from the American Airlines brand, they share the same policies of diversity and inclusion, including working to make their organization a place where people of all generations, races, ethnicities, genders, sexual orientations, gender identity, disabilities, religious affiliations, and backgrounds feel welcome and valued. Here to discuss more on the credit union's products and services, I will turn it back over to Jack with the credit union's Business Development Department.
Thank you, Brittney. Man, I mean, that's a lot. I mean, and I thank you again for sharing that information, and hopefully, some of the things you cover can lead to open discussions and ways that we can both recognize what's happened and look forward, to making it better. So I do want to pause at this time real quick, and if there's anyone on the call today that has any questions for Brittney or any of the other panelists, Robert, Jaleesa, Jamie, before we get into anything about the credit union difference, wanted to just throw that out there that you can use the Q&A feature. And I don't see any of the other panelists see anything, or did you guys receive any personal questions?
So real quick, Jack, I just wanted to mention a resource because I know that what Brittney mentioned is a lot of heavy information on history. And there's a resource, a guy named Kevin Matthews, who is from Tulsa, Oklahoma, wrote a book about specifically about the Greenwood district and Black Wall Street. It's called From Burning to Blueprint. And right now on Amazon, it's less than $8. And it is a financial blueprint, also talking about the history, but it also includes like a financial blueprint on how we can overcome the challenges that Black Wall Street presented, racial discrimination in the finance industry.
Excellent. I appreciate you sharing that. And can you say the name and the author one more time for those that are listening and might be interested in that resource?
Yes, absolutely. It's by Kevin Matthews, and the book name is called From Burning to Blueprint.
Excellent. Appreciate you sharing that. Excellent. Yeah, so go check that out, y'all. Thank you, Jaleesa. I appreciate you sharing that. I don't see any questions in the Q&A. My screen is a little bit limited. Oh, here's a couple. Mark said great information. Currently, he lives in Tulsa. So hopefully that enlightened you a little bit about some of the things that have been historically kind of swept under the rug, and I hate that. April, I apologize if I said your name wrong. Does redlining still take place today? Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
Redlining is illegal today, which is why there are federal regulations in place it's kind of like a checks and balances. So every financial institution, including ours, goes through a secondary review on all real estate loans to ensure that all real estate loans that are denied have been denied due to correct reasoning and not due to race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, or anything else.
Excellent. Thanks for chiming in there. Appreciate that. And then Alex, you might see there that Brittney did put From Burning to Blueprint, Kevin Matthews in the chat as well. So appreciate Appreciate you guys chiming in there. Keep the questions coming. Rhonda said, thank you for the information. She's looking to order the book. Her grandparents lived in Okmulgee, Oklahoma, but put their money in the Black Bank in Greenwood. So definitely some people connecting with these stories. And again, appreciate you sharing that. So keep the questions coming, y'all. We do have some time at the end, and we'll definitely go through those as well. So I want to transition a little bit here about, the credit union difference. And like Jaleesa said, some of the things that the credit union is doing to help our members, create that generational wealth or create financial well-being at large. But I do want to start a little bit about with, what is a credit union? Just for those of you that don't know, credit unions are not-for-profit financial institutions. They are cooperatives. And they were founded, credit unions actually started in the late 1800s as financial cooperatives to make loans accessible for members who are not able to get the assistance they needed from the banks in their community. And today, credit unions are full-service, not-for-profit financial institutions with a common bond of industry or geography. And I'll share a little bit later on about American Airlines and what our common bond is. But I do want to point out the 7 cooperative principles of credit unions. And those are voluntary membership, democratic control, members' economic participation, autonomy and independence from any other organizations. Education, training, and information are a big cornerstone as well. You'll hear about that a little bit later on. And then cooperation among cooperatives. In other words, we feel like the best way to move things forward is to work with other cooperatives and to support them in whatever they do. And then concern for community, which is a lot of the reason why we're here today, is to be part of this community, to be part of the American Airlines community, the EBRG community, and obviously the BPN community. So a little bit about American Airlines Credit Union, who we are. We're a full service financial institution. So we are like a bank, but we think we're a little bit better based on those cooperative principles and the fact that we are not for profit. What that means is the profits that we make are returned back to our members in the form of reduced fees, higher dividends, lower rates. And so we're not like a bank in the fact that we pay shareholders or investors. We actually are member owned. So what that means is every member is a part owner of this financial institution. We have no outside stakeholders. Our board of directors is volunteer. And then one other note, we're an exclusive benefits for employees of the air transportation industry. We were founded for American Airlines employees, but now we're open to everyone in the air transportation industry. So I mentioned earlier that cooperatives are, that they're based on a common bond. Ours happens to be the air transportation industry. I like to read this slide verbatim. This is American Airlines' vision, and that is for every member owner of American Airlines Federal Credit Union to realize his or her life and financial welfare are enriched as a result of their credit union participation. So what that means is we are advocates for our members. We're never going to put them in a situation that doesn't benefit them in some way. And we're not commission-based. None of our employees, get the Wells Fargo bonus for putting you in an account you don't need or anything like that. And what that allows us to do as employees of the credit union is to look out for our members. What's best for them? We never feel forced into any situation. And again, we are their advocates. So I do want to draw some similarities between American Airlines Credit Union and some of the EBRGs out there, specifically BPN. Our goal is to support the same people. Employees of American Airlines and their family members is the cornerstone of what we do. And so whatever we can do to benefit them, whether it be financially or in their walks of life, that's our goal. We do share a lot of the same values. As American Airlines employees, we do seek to engage in diversity, equity, and inclusion discussions like we're having today. We partner with a number of the EBRGs to support their goals and their visions as well. But overall, we do share the same values as well. And with that said, we have the same goal as the EBRGs and SBPN. We want to make a positive impact in the lives of our members and in the employees of American Airlines. Our overall goal is obviously to improve people's well-being, whether it be through discussions like we're having today, or financially speaking, to give them the opportunity to grow and to be financially well. And all that boils down to changing lives. I can't tell you how many times me and obviously my employees, or not my employees, my colleagues have been out and been visiting with different members. And whenever you can make that, even on a car loan, they may be paying 10%, and we're able to lower it or something like that, it changes their lives, and it does have a distinct impact in their overall approach to life. So I do want to transition here to some of our different products and services and how we accomplish those goals. Jaleesa, I'm going to run through some of the credit union's banking solutions, but stay with me. I'm going to be calling on you in a little bit, as I do have a couple follow-up questions for you. So one of the ways that you can get involved with a credit union is to open up a basic share savings account. And ours are really good. We actually pay 5 to 6 times the national average typically. Right now we are at 0.3% APY, and while that might not sound like a lot, it's definitely more than the banks are giving you right now. We also offer share certificates and ladders. Share certificates are kind of the same as CDs that banks offer, where you commit a set amount of time or amount of money for a set amount of time in exchange for a higher dividend rate. We also offer IRAs and other savings mechanisms to help you build that wealth. We also offer checking accounts. Free checking services include direct deposit, online banking with bill pay, mobile apps, mobile check deposit, and debit cards with chip-enabled and contactless pay technology. We have a number of checking options, and I'm not necessarily going to go into detail on that. I want to keep this high level, but we do have some incredible checking accounts that help you avoid any kind of fees or any kind of minimum balances, things of that nature. And we just encourage you, if you're interested in learning more about those services, to reach out to a local branch, call our 1-800 number, or you can respond to the survey at the end of today's presentation. We also offer emergency accounts. I'll go over that a little bit later in some of our financial wellness programs, but it allows our members to save for that rainy day. We also offer credit cards. In fact, our low rate credit card is as low as 7% right now. And we do have a promotion through the end of March where you can pay 0% interest on balance transfers for 6 billing cycles. So if you are struggling with debt or have some higher interest balances, consider checking out our credit cards. They are phenomenal. We do have a rewards credit card, a starter credit card, and even a secured credit card for those who may need a credit card but don't have the credit score to realize that. I'd like to point out also, we do have small business banking so for any of you that have a side job, a side business, or any family members you have that might have a side business, or even that's their bread and butter. Consider talking to us. Our niche is small businesses, and we'd love to partner with you on that. And then last but not least on this slide, our mobile and online banking services are extremely robust. You can access on the app, mobile phone, your tablet, or a PC as well. So as promised, I want to check in with Jaleesa here. Like I said before, Jaleesa is our Envoy headquarters branch manager and has worked in a number of areas in the credit union. So I just wanted to bring her on board as a representative to kind of talk about our different products and services. So Jaleesa, I know I'm putting you on the spot, but outside of loans, which we'll cover here in a second, which of the products that we cover today do you think allow our members to improve their financial well-being the most?
I think when you're ready to improve your financial well-being the most, it's really about getting started. So with the credit union, having just a basic savings account kind of opens up the window for all of the financial tools that we have available, but it also is just one step towards wherever you want to be. And that's no matter where you're starting, whether you have $1 or $100,000. That's just one step that'll get you started.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. So just to summarize, get it started with that basic savings account. That's the most important one so that we can establish that relationship and see how else we can help you, right?
Correct.
Awesome. Awesome. So thank you for that. And before we go into some of the credit unions borrowing solutions, I'd like to, let you share, what's your approach for a potential loan applicant? I know you've sat in that chair and visited with hundreds, if not thousands of people. So what's your approach there? And second part of that question, how do you align what a member's asking for versus, what's best for them?
I think the first thing is to listen to what they're saying and listen to what they actually are saying that they want. And that way we can actually see what solution would benefit them. I think that a lot of people don't trust financial institutions, or they may not be able to trust the person that they feel like is giving them a loan. But I feel like here at the credit union, with all of our loan officers, we really do try to take the time to listen to our members and learn from what they're saying. So if a member says that they want to pay off debt, but they have a vehicle that's maybe free and clear, it may be more beneficial to like consolidate some of that debt and put the lien on the vehicle so that we can be at 2% versus, 19 or 20%. And, showing members the numbers really does help them see.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, I know there's a number of times when people say, I need money. It's like, okay. Getting down to the root of why and what they're hoping to accomplish with that money, and then looking at all their options. Like you said, it may be best to go through a consolidation loan, maybe a vehicle loan with a collateral-based loan, things of that. So I applaud you for taking that approach, and that just goes back to being advocates for our members, looking out what's best for them, right?
Correct.
And then so kind of what's your approach after that? So if you will, kind of get in the weeds a little bit. What's the approach whenever somebody comes to a loan? Like, is there an application process? What's the follow-up? What kind of relationship do you form with those members that are asking for a loan?
So there's several ways to request a loan. You can do it over the phone, you can do it in person in a branch, or you can do it online. So a lot of our loans do come in through the online queue. I do still try to connect with the member, maybe call them, email them, and just to make sure, what they're looking for. And then I think once people establish, maybe get like a starter credit card with us or something small, like we do really establish relationships. Like I have members that I've been working with for the 9 years that I've been here. I started in the mortgage department, so I have members that, finance 2 or 3 houses with me. And then now that I'm on the consumer side, now they're financing autos with me, or they're sending their grandkids to me. And it's just a matter of like seeing them in the branch and saying like, oh, hey, how's that, whatever they got, how's that Tesla, whatever.
Excellent. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And you mentioned a word that we're actually kind of celebrating with some of our marketing campaigns and things like that this year, and that's trust. We're celebrating the trust that we have with our members, and hopefully doing the best we can to earn that trust. And I think, your approach and the way that you communicate with members, and obviously have 9 years of or people that are coming to you after 9 years, that you've earned their trust. And so I thank you for that, and thank you for sharing. Hold on just a little bit longer, Jaleesa. I got one more question for you, but I do want to share some of the ways that our loans can help our members. So first of all, vehicle loans. You mentioned that, Jaleesa. We do have some incredible opportunities for members to finance or refinance their vehicles. We're as low as 1.8% right now on new, used, and refinanced auto loans. So if you have an existing loan right now, please come talk to us. It never hurts to ask. And we'll never put you, again, in a situation that's not going to benefit you. So if you need maybe a little bit more income, monthly cash flow, come talk to us. We may be able to work something out. If you have a high rate, or maybe your credit's improved and you don't think that you got a fair shake the first time, come talk to us. All in all, it takes maybe 30 minutes for us to really kind of run the numbers and see if it's best for you. So I do encourage you to reach out to somebody like Jaleesa in our branches, give us a call or shoot us an email, or again, reach out to us via the survey following today's webinar. On top of vehicle loans, we do personal loans, lines of credit, consolidation loans, things of that nature. So if you need a little extra cash and you need to just talk to somebody about it, please reach out to us. We do mortgages. I know a lot of what we talked about earlier, what Brittney shared with us, had to do with the lack of opportunity for the Black community to own a home or to own land. And one of the biggest drivers of generational wealth is the opportunity for home ownership and land ownership. And we'd love to work with you on that. Our mortgages are a phenomenal product. We don't have any application fees. We can give you a pre-approval. And one of the really cool things about our mortgages is we don't sell it. So we're not a broker that packages all up and sells it to somebody else to service. We maintain all of our own loans on the servicing side. So what that means for you as the member or the mortgage applicant is that you know who to go to if you have questions, if you have issues, things like that. And I can't tell you how big of a deal that is. Not only are our rates extremely competitive, but that's definitely a big feature. Speaking of mortgages, we also have home equity lines of credit. So if you have some equity in your home, maybe you need to consolidate debt, maybe you want to improve on your home, make some remodeling changes, reach out to us. That's a fairly straightforward product and gives you the ability to tap into the equity of your home for any needs that you might have. And you can reach out to somebody like Jaleesa or somebody from our credit union to discuss that. I also want to point out we do have some student lending, especially for those that are currently enrolled in school. We have some student lines of credit, things like that. And then we do also have some student lending consolidation programs. So if you're interested in taking advantage of those, by all means, reach out to us. So that's it as far as loans and lending go. And again, if you have any questions or you need something, please reach out to us. Jaleesa, I'm going to pick on you one more time, if you don't mind. I just covered a number of ways that the credit union can help meet the lending needs of our members. But I'm sure there are times, especially sitting in the seat that you're sitting in, where we must be advocates for our members and look out for their best interests by telling them maybe no to a loan. How do you approach that with members, and what suggestions do you have for those that may need help, qualifying for what they want?
That's actually a really good question, Jack, and it actually kind of goes along with the question in the chat about what services does the credit union offer to improve personal credit. Sometimes we do have to tell our members no because it's just not in their best interest. And I always tell them sometimes no is not an official no, it's just not yet. So maybe we don't get the Tesla yet, but how can we get you there? What steps do you need to take to get to where you actually want to be? And sometimes we do handle a little bit of financial wellness in the branch, but we also have amazing financial wellness department, completely free to our members, and we offer for them to fill out the application and work with someone in our financial wellness department.
Awesome. I think that's a perfect segue, Jaleesa. Actually jumping right into the financial wellness programs offered at the credit union. I see Millicent's question there. Couldn't be better timing. I do appreciate you sharing your knowledge, experience, and please, obviously, stick around. I'm sure there'll be more questions towards the end, but thank you for visiting with us. I appreciate that. So, like I said, perfect segue. We do acknowledge that most people are at different stages of their financial journey. And our financial wellness department has solutions for everyone, regardless of where they are. I want to start off by letting everybody on the call know today that the credit union does have financial advisory services. So for example, if you're looking for financial planning solutions related to investing, retirement planning, etc., strongly encourage you to reach out to our flagship financial group for a complimentary review. You can contact them using the information on this slide. And keep in mind, for those of you that are pulling up their phones right now or trying to scan something, on that survey, you can request a copy of today's presentation, so you can go back and look at these different contact numbers. One thing about our flagship financial group that I really applaud them for is they don't just look at, hey, how can we make a quick buck? They are extremely comprehensive in their review, and it's all about planning, taking everything into account. So whereas you might meet with an advisor in other walks of life that just focuses on your 401k or just focuses on your brokerage account, our flagship financial group does a great job at seeing the big picture. So again, if that's something that you're just starting out in your investment planning and your long-term planning, or if you're on the brink of retirement, first of all, applaud you. But second of all, visit with them. They've got some great thoughts there. So some other programs we have in addition to our flagship financial group are represented by icons on this screen here today. So we do have a number of complimentary services to help you achieve your financial goals. And the best way to explore all of them is to visit us at financialwellness.aacreditunion.org. You see that URL right there on your screen. But I do want to take a couple minutes to review all of them at a fairly high level. Earlier in the presentation, when I was talking about some of our saving solutions, we mentioned the emergency fund. And the credit union has created an emergency fund program that allows you to save money for when you need it the most. Most experts recommend at least $1,000 to start off in emergency savings. But then a lot of folks also say that 3 to 6 months worth of salary is ideal. We understand that can be a lot of money, so we want to get you started contributing to that on an ongoing basis. So if you have the AC breaks down, or you have a flat tire, or something goes wrong with your car, you have that money when you need it. So we do have a program associated with that, and we'd love to help you out there. And so for those of you that want to know their credit score and would like to be alerted about credit inquiries to protect against fraud, things of that nature, the credit union offers free credit monitoring through our online banking channel. It is not going to be a hard pull on your credit, but gives you a baseline for from where you stand. And one thing we've noticed, and I can't remember the exact stat, but for those that sign up for that service, just by keeping an eye on it, have drastically improved their tiers. So when it comes to credit scores, they're kind of represented by different tiers. And I want to say almost half of the folks that have signed up for credit monitoring have improved their credit score to the next tier. And that just is about awareness. So again, that's a very powerful tool that we offer to our members for free. The third icon that you see on the screen today is the Navigator. This is an online learning tool where users can explore topics that mean the most to them. So maybe you're interested in, hey, what is credit scores all about? What's some investing options that I have? There's hundreds and hundreds of articles, modules, learning modules, videos that you can align with your interest without fear of being sold something by a credit union representative or anyone else. And it's a really good way for you to invest in your own financial well-being and your knowledge. So again, that's a free tool available to everyone on the call here today. We also invite you to take advantage of our weekly financial wellness webinars. Typically, we host those every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. For those of you that signed up for the webinar today, you may have seen that we have all of our March topics covered. And throughout the year, we present different topics about the auto buying process, maybe managing debt, buying a home, retirement, and more. And again, it gives you the opportunity to further your financial well-being through education. I can't stress that enough, how important education and understanding how the financial system works is to your well-being. Again, all of our upcoming webinars are posted at aacreditunion.org/events. And then last but not least, as far as the icon goes, is our wellness checkups. And I'm going to spend a little bit more time about our financial wellness checkups with a certified financial counselor, and that's Jamie. So Jamie, you there? You're on mute, maybe?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay,
Excellent.
perfect.
So,
Sorry about that.
No, all good. I'm glad you're here with us today. So I do want to just cover this real quick, and then I got a couple awesome questions for you. Just want to point out that Jamie is one of our certified financial counselors as part of our financial wellness department. She is one of the experts that help people for bruised credit situations, or even those that have great credit and just want to do a little bit better. She also offers things like accountability, spending plans, AKA budgets. And it's just an incredible department that really seeks to provide value to our members' lives. And as you see on the slide here, their role is to be advocates for our members, to support and guide them as they're looking to start building and or strengthening your generational wealth. They're an incredible resource. So with all that said, Jamie, if you don't mind, I'd like to invite you to share a little bit about the Financial Wellness Department, how it's affected your life, as well as how your department helps our members improve their financial situations.
Yeah, thank you, Jack. I'm really excited to be here. So our department, we do have 5 credit counselors that are available to meet with members one-on-one, and we can customize a plan for you based on exactly what your needs are. So whether that is just improving your credit score, paying off debt, kind of preparing to purchase a home. So you're starting to think about it, but you're not quite ready yet. We can help you get there. And if you don't mind me being just a little bit candid,
Please.
I like to share my personal story because it really speaks to how passionate I am about our department and what we do. And so I like to share that, I didn't always know what to do with credit. I kind of learned that, hey, as long as you can afford the payment, you're doing okay. And so, that led to really having a lot of debt by the time I was in my early 20s. And then coming to the credit union, I learned some, and I kind of dug my way out of it. And then found myself going through a divorce in my early 30s. And anybody who's gone through that knows how financially devastating that can be. So I found myself as a single mom of 2 kids. And it really just accrued debt again. I found myself over $20,000 in unsecured debt. And so, about a year or 2 after that, I joined the Financial Wellness Department as a counselor. And I started to teach our members how to create a budget, pay off debt, and all of these things to improve their financial situation. And I started to think, I probably need to start practicing what I'm preaching here. If I'm really going to be an advocate, I need to take care of my own situation as well. And so, utilizing the tools and the resources that we offer our members, I was able to get myself out of debt, have an excellent credit score, I'm proud to say. And, I share that basically to not only talk about how excited I am about our department and what we do, but to let you know that all of our counselors have often been in all of these different situations. So we understand, we're non-judgmental. You can come to us with just about anything. We're not going to be shocked because we've been there most likely, and we know how to handle those situations. So, I just am so excited and can't say enough about what we offer and the tools and the resources that really do help enrich the lives of our members.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing and for being so candid, Jamie. And I know just in working with our marketing department, some other folks, that some of our most impactful member stories are the result of the great work that you and your our financial wellness department does. I just want to invite you, if there are any particular member moments that resonate with you or that made a lasting impression, I would love to hear about those.
Yeah, thanks. I actually have a young woman that I've been working with for the last 2 years, and she pops to mind first because I just spoke with her last week. And she's got a very exciting story. But when she came to me about 2 years ago, her credit score was in the mid 500s, which is pretty low. And she was just moving back in with her parents because she found herself in a situation where she had a lot of debt, and it was really about $80,000 worth of debt, if I'm being honest here. And she had a great job, made good money, but just she liked to spend it. She liked to travel, and so she found herself in a bit of trouble. And over the last 2 years, I've been able to work with her on a debt repayment plan. And when I spoke to her last week, she had just moved into her own apartment again. And her credit score is now over 700. And she If she stays the course, she will be completely debt-free by August, and she plans to be able to purchase a home by the end of the year. So her story is extraordinary. I can't say that it's typical, but it really speaks to the power, again, of the tools and the resources that we have, paired with her dedication and hard work.
Yes.
She did the work. She's the one who really put in the effort, made a lot of changes, and I got to just be the cheerleader along the way to help her get there.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I literally, I know you've told me that story before, and I literally just got goosebumps hearing it again. So thank you so much for sharing. And I think that's just the power of, like you said, dedication, hard work, and sticking to it. And obviously your department and how y'all change people's lives. And hopefully, the young woman you spoke about, is setting the baseline for that generational wealth to be able to support and, bridge that gap that we talked about earlier. So, thank you so much for sharing that, Jamie. I greatly appreciate it. With that said, stay tuned. We'll probably have some questions. In fact, we've got one, and I know we said we'd wait till the end, but since it's on point here, and somebody asked, what should they prepare, gather to scheduling a complimentary review of their finances? I just want to address, if it's on the Flagship Financial Group side of things, encourage you to reach out to them. And again, we'll send you a copy of today's presentation with the contact information. Jamie, for you, if just in case they're talking about your services and financial wellness, what are some of the things that they should be prepared with when they, set up an appointment or anything along those lines? What's the process?
Yeah. So you'll see our number and our website there on your screen. You can give us a call. We will send you a form for you to fill out that just gives us some basic information as well as permission to pull and review your credit report. And then it's also really helpful if you have the information on your budget, basically what your basic expenses are for the month, what your any creditor information that you have. So balances that are owed, interest rates. If debt payoff is your goal, then we want to know as much information as possible so we can really help you develop a good plan to take care of that.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. And for those of you that are interested, again, that's their phone number on the screen as well as their email. And Jamie can give you, or somebody from her team can give you a checklist. And it really does depend on what you're hoping to accomplish. But please reach out to the Financial Wellness Department if any of the things we discussed, you feel like it could help you improve your financial well-being. So we're closing in on the end, and again, thank you for sticking with us here. Do want to point out we are recording this. Somebody asked, if they had to leave, but we are recording this, and we can give you a copy of the presentation whenever we send out that survey. To kind of bring it all home about the credit union and what we're really about. We do have very competitive banking solutions. I would say, we're not able to do everything for everybody, but I would say the majority we can definitely help you out. And what we mean by competitive banking solutions, just to bring it back around, higher dividend rates on any savings you have with us, lower loan rates and lower fees, and really at the heart of it all is the advocacy we have for our members. We always want to do what's best for them. So we trust us when we say we have your best interests at heart. We do have workplace convenience. We have 46 branches, brick and mortar. We're also part of a cooperative network that gives you access to 5,000 plus other credit union branches where you can make deposits and withdrawals. And then we also have over 30,000 free ATMs, including all 7-Elevens, and depending on where you're at, other credit union ATMs. But the biggest thing, obviously, in digital age, we've got our phones. We have a pretty robust app that allows you to do a number of things as well. As far as the benefits go, once you become a member, you're able to share that with your family and pass along that benefit of banking with the credit union. So grandparents, parents, brothers, sisters, spouses, domestic partners, roommates, kids, grandkids, they are all eligible as a result of your credit union membership. And you can actually earn $25 for referring them. So not only are you helping them out, but you stand to gain a little bit too. And then finally, we are one of you and we work for you. We're technically American Airlines employees. And we get this crazy business that connects us. And so when it comes to different loans, there may be a furlough loan. There may be, we did the COVID loan, whenever people were struggling during the pandemic. And so we do understand this industry and we tailor our products and services to meet the needs of those that we serve. So that's just kind of bringing it all home. And then I know you've heard us talk about who we are, what we can do, et cetera. But sometimes it's nice to hear, what other people think. GoBankingRates.com ranked us number 6 as a top 100 bank in the U.S. And then they also ranked us as number 7 as far as best overall credit unions. So again, it's not just us giving you lip service. We have been acknowledged and recognized. And currently, we're top 20 credit union as far as number of and asset size and members as well. So we are proud of this, and we just wanted to share that with you guys, so you know that we're someone you can trust. So that kind of brings it to the final slide, which is our my final slide, which is our Q&A session. And I want to thank you all for tuning in. Remember, if we didn't get to your questions, or if yours is one that's more personal in nature, we'd be more than happy to reach out to you. Please just indicate on the survey that you'd like a representative to contact you, and we'll touch base early next week. You can also request a copy of today's presentation on the survey as well. And then one real quick public service announcement. Be sure to drop by your favorite branch next week, starting on February 28th. We are celebrating Member Appreciation Week and the trust that you have placed in us. And we will have some fantastic exclusive limited time specials. A lot of our branches are decorating, may have snacks, things of that nature. So again, be sure to drop by and visit with your favorite branch. We'd be so happy to see you. And before I turn things over to Brittney and Robert, I just, on a personal note, want to thank the Black Professional Network on behalf of American Airlines Credit Union for the opportunity to partner with you. It's been really great getting to know you as we've worked on this. We're truly humbled and appreciated to be part of creating discussions around the topics we shared today. And to each of the attendees that joined on the call today, we thank you again for your attendance and for investing your time in learning today. And we do hope that you stay safe, healthy, and happy. Brittney and Robert, are you still with me here?
I am. And
Excellent.
we
So,
are extremely grateful for you for allowing this information to get out there to the BPN community. And it's going to create more conversations and hopefully get people on the right track to check their financial wellness and lead to future economic empowerment. So I will go ahead and turn it to Robert so he could share a few words.
Sure, everyone. This was a, as I like to say, make up a word, a fantabulous event that we had to. Some key points that were up to me is a quote that says, "If you don't know your history, you're bound to repeat it." So let's remember what happened during the time of redlining of the black dollar. Let's remember that the stat of how long a dollar stays in our community, 6 hours. So to put that in layman terms, we get our paycheck on a Friday every 2 weeks. That Saturday, we go out and we spend it somewhere outside of our community. That's a little bit more than 6 hours. Again, failing to know your history, you're bound to repeat it as to the credit union with your financial health and knowing your credit score. If you don't know credit score and you haven't looked over your
I think we lost him, guys.
Yeah, I think
really
we lost.
appreciate credit union, and that comes from a member of 28. Okay. Oh, hello, am I here?
We can hear you. Yeah,
You're back.
good.
You're
Okay.
back. You're back.
Okay. Yeah. So I was saying I'd like to thank the credit union, and that comes from being a member for the past 29 years. I really appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yes, and just to end everything, we want everyone to continue to educate one another about information on the Black community and our history. We want to empower everyone to remember to use your own voice and the resources that you receive and encourage you to do things within your community. So we thank you for joining us today. Please fill out the survey, and we'll see you next time. Happy Black History Month.
Thank you all.